Welcome, True Seekers, to another episode of the Straight Shooters Show. My name is Todd Braley. I'm an indie filmmaker from Colorado, and with me, as always, is my good friend from down under. Notice I didn't say the thunder.
Mm-hmm. We're dropping the thunder.
Dropping the thunder from down under.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to introduce yourself, or
I mean, it says my name on the screen, but yeah, I'm Itai. Yeah. I'm a filmmaker from Australia, originally from Israel. And we're back after a long hiatus.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. So we've got somebody special on the show today, ladies and gentlemen. He is an author, and he is from Michigan. What town, what city of Michigan are you from again?
It's called Lance. I'm up in the Upper Peninsula.
Oh, you're a Yooper.
Yeah, I'm a Yooper.
I finally know how to pronounce it, so it's Lance.
Well, the author Jared Johnson is with us today. Jared, thanks a lot for hanging out with us tonight. Appreciate it. It's great to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Author and special effects extraordinaire.
You're too kind.
Yeah, I was going through his Facebook page here over the last couple of days, and he's got a handful of things going on there with some special effects stuff. So I was impressed, very much so. So
got to stay busy.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself for our viewing audience, Jared, if you would.
Oh, well, I was born and raised here. 38 years. Got 2 kids I've been raising, and I am an electrician technician for my typical full-time job. Work in a factory, do that kind of work. And then the author stuff and working on props and effects has kind of been a hobby that I've been hanging on to dearly for 15 to 18 years now, give or take. I think it's been about 16 years I started Diehard Horror, and it was kind of started off as a collection, small collection, started getting bigger and bigger, and then I kind of broke into the prop building, making masks, doing lots of haunted house makeup for people. Depending on the theme, we do zombies one year. We did like fairy tale thing one year too. Haunted house has a different theme, the local ones that we have. So kind of did that for quite a while. And just it seems like it changes every year, doing something different.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So what got you into doing special effects? I mean, we'll talk about the author stuff, obviously, but being a filmmaker, when somebody says, "Hey, I do special effects," I'm like,
practical effects, yeah.
Practical effects, yeah.
Yeah, what kicked that off for me was not only my love for horror films and practical effects, but the movie that I always give credit to for that is Peter Jackson's Bad Taste.
Ooh.
Just because it was such a beautiful film made on such a shoestring budget, and there was so many neat effects that he was able to accomplish in that. And that's kind of where I started trying to figure out all these little things he was doing before we had internet to look a lot of that stuff up. And it was just a lot of trial and error trying to figure out the different things he was doing in that film to make it fly the way he did. And it was just a fun movie, and that's what kind of kickstarted it for me.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a pretty amazing film, and it's definitely one of those that you kind of reference back to every so often, and so they're going, see what he did with nothing.
Right.
So
yeah, that's one film I'm probably due for a revisit. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's a good time every time I go back to it. never gets old for me.
Well,
yeah, last time I saw it was years ago.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. You were talking first.
No, I was just saying last time I saw it was a long time ago, so I don't even remember it that clearly.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it in a while. I came across it a couple of years ago again, and I think it was even on Tubi was where I watched it. So it was definitely one of those that you look at and then you look at Lord of the Rings and go, holy shit, did he
It's a little different.
Upped his game a little bit, you think?
And his budget.
Yeah. Amazingly.
A little bit.
So there was something that I noticed. This is kind of veering off a little bit from everything. I noticed that you're really kind of as far as your kids go, you're really you look like a good dad. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's kind of one of those things. You're super proud of your kids. And that was just something that I noticed, that there's a lot of stuff on your Facebook page about your kids, which I think is pretty awesome that you have such a good relationship with your kids.
Oh yeah, it's an absolute riot, man. It's one of my favorite things in life. We got a pretty good bond, me and the kids, and I've been coaching my daughter in basketball for going on 5 years now.
Wow.
So it's been a lot of fun. And like I said, our house is like the kind of like the central location for the get-togethers, and all the friends come here, and the kids build their floats here, and the kids play basketball in the driveway here. And it's my son who's 18 now. He's in his last year of school. He'll be 18 in January. And then my daughter, who's just started middle school. So got a pretty good variety of ages of people in and out of the house, and kids hanging out all the time. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. They all get pretty good entertainment while they're here.
Yeah. Yeah. My house was the house where everybody congregated at as well. It's because my dad was the carpenter, and so he built the skateboard ramps and he built the bike ramps, and so my mom was okay with us risking our existence with bike ramps and skateboards, and as long as we did it in front of her house.
Right.
So it was definitely, I get it because literally the whole neighborhood was at our house, and that was something else. My parents were really and they were good. I mean, they would feed the kids, they would feed us. It's like, okay, who wants peanut butter and jelly? Okay, we'll bring out peanut butter and jelly, and everybody sat on the grass. And yeah, that's kind of, that was.
Yeah, they only grow up once, so I'm taking advantage every moment I got with them.
Yep. That's awesome.
Jared, when all the kids come over, do you lock up the collection?
Nah, they all want to see it.
No touching.
Yeah, I get like, I don't know, at least every time there's a group of them here, there's always one. Hey, can I go down and see the horror room? I'm like, well, yeah, if you want. It's fine.
Yeah, let me just say, Jared has a massive collection. It's DVDs and Blu-rays and props and posters and everything. We actually have that video up on your My Indie Artist page. We will link that in the comments, but in the description. But it probably needs an update, that video. That's from a few years ago.
Yeah, I think that was filmed probably 6 or 7 years ago now.
Wow.
Definitely needs an update.
I was just thinking, you and I, we've known each other like around about a decade now.
Yeah, getting there.
Yeah, I think Jared was the first sort of social media friend that I kind of made, that we went beyond the Facebook and the this and that and started talking, and yeah, the cool side of social media.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's been fun, man. I'm sure Todd knows, as soon as you get on the phone, it's you're looking at an hour minimum
with a tie. Yeah. My wife, whenever I say, hey, I'm going to go out and talk to a tie, and she goes, okay, well, I'll see you in the morning.
Right.
Yeah. Talking film, especially, it's like, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's one thing when you talk to a filmmaker or you talk to somebody who's a film buff, it's really hard to not just keep going and going and going and going and going, and especially when you have somebody like Itai that continues to, you talk about this and then all of a sudden you're talking about that, and then you go this way and then you go that way and then you go this way and that way, and boom boom boom, and
my brain works in mysterious ways.
Yes, it does when it works.
It works all the time. That's the problem. It's in hyperdrive.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. So, author, what is that all about? When did that come into play here?
Come into existence.
I think it's always slightly been there. When I was a kid, that was always my favorite thing to do, was write these little stories on Halloween for my classes and stuff when I was in grade school. And they probably were nothing great. They were to me. I'd bring them home, show my dad, hey dad, look what I wrote, and he'd read it. And he saved all them for me throughout the years, and he kind of kept them all in a big portfolio kind of thing. And he gave them back to me one day, and I started reading through them, and I'm like, I'm older now, and I'm like, wow, it's kind of entertaining. I maybe was onto something back then. I don't know. But I eventually went to college, tried that gig for a while. And I got into the creative writing, different courses like that. And I had a pretty inspiring professor in one of my classes, and he really pushed me to take on the creative writing aspect and fiction. And I wrote a couple stories in there, and I did fairly well on them. And that was pretty much it. And then it kind of just dived. I never thought about writing again for a really long time.
Why do you think that was?
Life?
It probably wasn't even life, or it was probably just kind of forgot about it. I don't know. Just doing other stuff, I guess. I don't know. Probably life, I guess.
I'm just thinking. I'm thinking about your dad. Your dad getting your stories, and I'm just thinking, as a kid, he would be reading those, thinking, my son's going to be a serial killer.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why he collected them.
Yeah, evidence
for the book. The parent of a serial killer book.
Because I have to say, Jared's stories are pretty freaking gory.
But it's all fun.
Well, yeah, but you have to have some kind of creative thought process to be able to being a special effects artist, it's one of those things. I actually had the pleasure of meeting Greg Nicotero at Jaws Fest back in 2012, and it takes a special kind of person and having an imagination and coming up with different ways of offing people. So it's kind of one of those things that if hey man, if you're gonna do it right, in my opinion. So
yeah,
and you kind of did it right.
You got it. That's good.
Yeah, I did get it. Thank you very much. I was able, unfortunately, I wanted to try and read as much as I could before today, but I had to just kind of unfortunately skim through it. But I'm going to be digging into this probably this weekend
Awesome.
It looked awesome. So, and we're trying not to spoil the book, but the whole idea behind it, where did you come up with the idea of the book? And I mean, can you tell us a little bit about the book without spoiling anything?
Yeah. Well, so it's actually kind of comical how it came about. My fiance Kristen was going to college, and she was taking an English course, and she had to come up with some kind of story or whatever. And I'm like, hey, you should do a horror story, and like just like a creative fiction. And she's kind of like, I don't know. So I'm like, well, hey, let's I started just writing ideas down on paper with a pen, and I'm just jotting different ideas down. And I'm like, hey, I was like, who are all your classmates and your professors? So she kind of gave me their names. So I took like each one of these classmates' names, and then I'm just like putting them with different characters, like making them into this person, making it into this person, like nothing directly of the actual person, because I don't even know who any of these people were. But I was like, oh, this would be a good idea. I'll put all these characters into a plot or whatever, and we can write a story. And we started just having fun and joking around about it. And that's kind of like where it left off. And then I'm like, that was kind of fun. I think I'm going to keep going with this story, So I started writing it, and I wrote the whole first story out on pen and paper, like just whatever came to my mind when I was jotting everything down. And that's how the first story actually took off. And then it kind of just died there. And I already had a second story going, which was something I really wanted to write about without giving anything away. And I got about 3/4 of the way through that story, and I'm like, man, I could really tie this story into that one I just wrote. And then it kind of just generated from there. I'm like, I think I'm going to make this into a full-blown book. And then I just started tying everything together, and there's a lot of overlapping going on from story to story to story throughout the book. And the 5 chapters. The
one universe. Yeah.
Yep. And that's how this one came about. It was it was kind of an accident, I guess, which made it funner because there was no pressure, there was no deadline, there was no writer's block, nothing going on when I started just dropping ideas for this. And it ended up just being a blast. And it took a little longer.
There was a little pressure. There was this my indie place that was constantly emailing Jared going, when's the next story coming? Is it ready? Send it over.
Yeah, that was a little later, but then the pressure, then things started to heat up.
Yeah. The minute you get a talk involved, it's like, hey, so you got some more of that script ready? You got some more of that ready? You got some more of that script ready? When am I going to see a cut of that movie?
Give it. Yeah. I actually have something to say about that. But before I do, Jared, I have to say, Halloween around the corner. I have a Halloween costume idea for you.
Oh.
I'm looking at you on camera here, and I'm thinking, when did you become a doppelganger for the Undertaker's biker character?
Oh shit, dude! Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not. You're totally not.
I don't see it, but I'll take it.
Oh my god, it is completely there, man.
It's scary. I'm gonna put a picture of him up there. It's like, oh my god.
I think you can go for the dead man character. Get that whole outfit going. That's a cool one.
I never thought about that, and I may have to go that route. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think you would absolutely kill that one. That would be awesome.
Gotta learn how to roll my eyes back in my head there.
Yeah. and get the tongue out and all that.
Are you thinking Undertaker, like costumey Undertaker or biker Undertaker?
I'm thinking the Dead Man, which is the costume.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Halloween.
Right. But still, yeah.
Go all the way.
I can see it.
But yeah, when Jared and I first sort of got to know each other, and I was doing the whole my independent artist community thing, I basically invited Jared to join, but it was basically on the basis of the practical effects. Had no idea that Jared did any writing at the time. And then we got onto talking, and then Jared told me, oh yeah, I also dabble in music, by the way, which we haven't mentioned yet. I also dabble in writing. And I was like, oh, okay. So what do you write? He goes, oh, just for the drawer. And I'm like, have you shown it to anyone? Nah. I'm like, well, send it over. I said, I'll give you an honest opinion. If I think it's good, I'll tell you. If I think it's crap, I'll tell you.
Oh, yes.
And I loved it. And I loved it straight away. I remember that first story you sent me. I was like, holy shit, this is great. Needed a bit of cleaning up, a bit of tweaking here and there, but it was fantastic from the get-go. And then, and then it's like a second and a third and a fourth and a fifth. And here we go. It's a book.
Yeah. It was.
Which is, yeah. Always on the shelf behind me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got mine hiding here too.
Oh, you got one as well?
Yeah.
You must be connected.
You would hope you would have one of his own books.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you see, I've been trying to write a book for a really long time. And I start and then I stop, and then somebody told me it wasn't detailed enough, and then somebody told me I had too much detail and all that stuff. I mean, when you're putting this together, I mean, how do you what is your do you like outline everything beforehand, or are you just
I hit the papers running. I kind of have an idea of the length of what I want to write and how long I want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
So then I kind of base my like descriptions and characters and that sort of thing based off the length I know my story is going to be. If I know it's only going to be 20 pages, I'll pack in what I have to for my characters, and then I just let it flow, man. I don't ever have like outline or plot really set up. That usually comes later. I kind of, especially when I'm doing like chapters or short stories. I've got a few different things going on right now outside of this book, and that's kind of where I'm at, and not. Got a short story setup coming out. I've got, I think, 5 done so far. Shooting for like 12 to 15. And then kind of it's in the same universe as well as Terror Bay, but it's gonna go somewhere else. And
it's pretty amazing how like writers have a writing process that is so different between people, one another. I guess it's to do with personalities or how we started writing, or it's pretty amazing. Like it goes all across. Some people just, plan before, some people just hit the paper running. And a lot of people tell me, when I write, I discover the story as I go along, that kind of thing. Whereas I don't. I have to know the ending before I start. And Todd, like you were saying, writing a book, very different from writing a script.
Oh, dude. It's a lot of it, as you're, going I mean, when I was going through your book today, Jared, I'm looking and reading, each you know, the way you kind of have this separated in like paragraphs, you know, it's, you know, they pulled up to the cabin, he would leave his vehicle, and then it goes through, and Candace spoke softly behind him, and then it goes and it starts a new paragraph, and it's kind of one of those things that, you know, you wonder, as you're putting that together, you know, where when do you decide to do that, and you know what kind of detail you're looking at. Because again, you know, when I'm writing, what Itai and I have discussed this many times, you know, putting a script together, you're trying to get detail in there, but you don't want so much detail, because you don't need it, because a lot of the detail is all going to be on the screen. So you don't have to fill in the blanks.
And that's kind of the funnest part about writing, is like when I'm writing, like when I wrote Terabay, like it was live action in my head as I was writing it. Like, would this look good on screen? It passed through my head a million times writing it. And how do you get exactly what you would want to see on screen out of your head onto paper for someone else to interpret? That really goes into heavy with how I write. It's got to be there. The description's got to be there. So you could take it, oh, that's cool, I know exactly what he's looking at, what he's looking for. That's all I need. Let's move on to the script. Put it in the script. Easy, it's there. That's kind of how I was focusing a lot of my writing.
Yeah.
Too.
That's interesting. For sure.
It's definitely been interesting. I guess we can do an exclusive and reveal here on the show.
Special announcement.
Yeah, that we are currently, you know, working together on adapting the book into a script, and we're hoping to make it into actually a variety of options at the moment. But working on adapting a book into a script is really interesting. You know, when I first sort of hit the book, what it was from an editing standpoint, I was helping Jared edit the book, and then when I went into it to adapt it as a script, it was a different story. All of a sudden, you see it differently, and you think, okay, how am I going to do this? You can't just do it off the page. You kind of have to scrap it all together in a way and just describe what happens, and then make that into a treatment, and then it's almost like starting over. You have the premise, you have the story, but everything else has to start from the beginning. You can't use the book as some sort of a template or something that you just sort of transfer the words into a script format. It's not just reformatting. It's like building this whole thing up again, which is actually massively exciting. Because again, when, you know, Jared, like you say, when I read the first story the first time, I was seeing the movie in my head. I was already seeing the story play out as a film, because that's how my mind works as a filmmaker. You know, you see things visually. You don't think about, you know, the descriptive nature of what you're reading, how that would not be in a movie. It just translates.
Right.
You know? So I kind of have to take that vision and make that into a script, which is really interesting, working, you know, the other way. Pretty awesome. But yeah,
just trying to make it easy for you guys.
Yeah. It's never easy. It's never easy, but it's always fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Now I'm going to ask you, Itai, what made you think that that this could be turned into a screenplay? Is it just because you were reading it and you were seeing everything? Is that what you thought? Because not every book can be turned into a screenplay, even though people tend to think, oh, well, this would make a good movie. This would make a good movie. And then you look at it and you start breaking it down and you go, oh, fuck, no, that would make a good movie. So
I think it's two things. One of them is kind of knowing Jared and the way his mind works. So even before I got the first story, I think it was somewhere in the back of my mind that it would be somewhat of a cinematic nature. Because I thought at the time, I didn't really know about Jared. I didn't know about your whole writing background. So I actually thought that it was inspired by your love of horror films, which is kind of a mix of the two, I guess. But when I first read the book, it just jumped out at me, from the page. It was just like I could recognize the influences and some, homages here and there and things like that. And I could see the movie straight away. It took no effort from me to kind of think about it that way. It just happened involuntarily, I think. So after we first published the stories on my indie on the website and got people to read them and pushed them out there, and the reception was actually pretty good. People really enjoyed them. And then Jared really wanted to self-publish, to put it into a book, and that got out there, and we took him down off the website so that people would get into the book. And the book's going great. But I think that thought of if ever possible to make this into a film was there from the beginning.
Well, and how did you feel about that, Jared, when Itai said, "Hey man, this might make a good movie"?
I actually remember the first reaction when I suggested that. I think you just said, "Fuck yeah."
I think it's something like that.
The direct quote.
Yeah, I mean, if we can breathe life into it in any form, I'm completely game for that. It's just the fun of it. And I said, I think, what were we even talking, like doing the animation even? It was kind of just wild in my head because I was picturing it as an animation, and we were picturing it as a graphic novel, and then picturing it as a live action film. And it was just like possibilities were endless with it, and it all sounds fun. And there's obviously the challenges that come with it, and like I said, I'm game to go wherever it's going to take me.
Yeah, I'm game to go all the way with this one. What's that, Todd? I missed that. What'd you say?
Who's going to do the effects?
Yeah. That's actually a major part of this one, because Jared and I straight away both said, this has to be practical effects. We can't go, computerized on this.
Shit.
Yeah. Which straight away puts the budget at a certain number that is going to be a struggle to get to. But with being an artist, everything's a struggle. So just
Hey Peter. See if I get him on the phone.
There you go.
How did you do that?
Well, I
mean, he might tell you.
It's definitely one of those things, and even the back of the book with the description, the pseudo plot line in there. And then now I do want to ask, I don't know that it's going to give anything away. When I was going through the book here over the last day and a half here, you have an epilogue in here, and then all the way at the back, it was, I don't know if I'm giving things away, stop me if I am. And then you have Terror Bay events chronological timeline. And that's like after the acknowledgments, which is kind of cool. So I'm just curious. I mean, is that, if you explain any of that, is that going to give anything away, or?
No, all that is just it's kind of was my footnotes that I had while writing the book, because it's not written in chronological order by any means. So that's half the fun of the book, is piecing it together. And I said, if you wanted to refer to that in the back, I've had thoughts like second edition yanking it out of there. Like, I'm not too sure, but when I was reading, I was like, well, you're supposed to read a book front to back, so it shouldn't spoil anything. And yeah, it was just kind of like the footnotes that I held on to as I was writing the book and making sure I had my plot correct. There was no holes in it. Just every little bit of things, because what I did was like there's a lot to do with like the full moon phases and stuff going on and over many years, like back into the 70s and 80s. And I actually used the real dates. Like I researched real dates for when it actually was, and like I based my entire timeline off of that.
Right.
So it's kind of it's there just because I use that, and it's more of a, it's not going to give anything away terribly in the book, but at the same time it was, I put it in there for myself, and if somebody wants to use it and read it, they can, but it was just something that I referred to for the majority of the writing of this book. I thought it was kind of cool.
It's almost like some kind of an extra feature in a DVD, where you can just kind of Easter eggs and stuff like that. You can go look for more information.
Right.
Because I remember when you first wrote it, the diary wasn't such a necessarily big element. It was really for you to keep that chronology and also continuity, in check. When tying in all the stories, all the dates, everything. So
yeah,
eventually kind of actually writing it out and like you said, using it as a sort of assistance in that way. And then you thought, I'll just put it in the book. I was like, yeah, why not?
Yeah, because there was only 3 or 4 journal entries to begin with, and I'm like, man, that'd be kind of cool if I did the entire journal, and it just wasn't to release it separate on my indie. It's like as like a bonus. And then actually at the time when I got it done, it fit into the book so well that I used it as an epilogue. And then I think the book's actually got 2 epilogues, which is, I don't know if it's ever been done before or not. I had to change it up, and I didn't want to end a story on the journal because I still had a little bit of unfinished business I had to take care of. So I put in the second epilogue to do that.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. When you said that, I looked and I went, oh, it does have a second epilogue. So it's like, that's interesting. It's definitely, what, it doesn't hurt to do shit differently. You don't have to, when you're doing it yourself, you don't have any rules to follow. So it's kind of cool when you're able to put something together like this. And outside of the Itai timer, you don't, you can put something together and do things that are different, and kind of staying outside of the norm, which is I'm always about. It's, oh, hey, let's see how we can stir up the pot and mess with people.
Absolutely.
Let's fuck shit up.
Yeah, exactly. Because
the indie spirit
about that. So, well, I mean, okay. So making a movie out of this thing, as far as like your main character, who would you want? I mean, if you had a bunch of money and you could have anybody, who would you want?
Wow.
Had you thought
That's funny. I actually haven't thought about that. Have you?
I've never thought that once yet about this.
I mean, I wish I would have some input if I had read the book all the way through, but I haven't had my chance to do that yet, so I can't offer a suggestion.
So you will soon.
Yes, I will. Come like Monday or Tuesday next week. Hey, this is what you're gonna do.
The funny thing is, now that you brought that up, it kind of, I think that when I read it, some actors or faces or did come to mind, but all indie. I didn't think about, what if I had, a big enough budget to get whoever I want, that kind of thing. Never thought about that.
I mean, if I had to go for like one of my main characters specifically, the gun supply guy, I would 100% want to cast like William Sadler. So I absolutely love everything that he's in. He's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, character actor, big fan.
Wow. I just watched Demon Knight the other night, and he's amazing in that. And then Shawshank, he's really, really good in that. I like his character in that. It's not on screen a whole bunch, but when he is, he eats up the scenery, man, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What was it? Sure. Was it Die Hard 2?
Yeah, he was in Die Hard 2.
Yeah.
That character made that film for me.
Yeah. Yep.
I really like the Road Racers. I don't know I think we've talked about that time, but I don't know. Have you seen Road Racers, Todd?
I haven't.
The Robert Rodriguez movie.
Yeah. I knew that, but I hadn't. That's probably the one Rodriguez movie I have not seen, and I'm not sure why I have never seen it. It's not like I never wanted to, because I love Robert Rodriguez's stuff, even the Spy Kids shit. I love it, but that's somehow I missed that one. I need to add that to my list.
It's not as talked about as any of his other ones.
Yeah, Sadler's pretty good in that one.
Yeah, because he did that one. Wasn't that after? Didn't he do Desperado? And then he did Road Racers, and then The Faculty.
Yeah, it was like a Showtime contest or something that Showtime was putting on.
Oh, okay. All right. Jared, do you have you worked on any film projects with your effects?
Nothing in-house. I've done everything through my little shop, just making the props and different things like that for fan films. Nothing really huge. I said most of my effects and prop work was
but you have worked on film projects with other people then?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, indie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We might have to talk to him about Shadows of the Night, because, well, we want to shoot in Michigan and you're in Michigan, and that kind of helps a little bit.
Don't think that I haven't thought of that already.
Yeah, I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have. Now here's to hoping. Yeah.
Well, the one thing we haven't talked about much with Jared here yet is the music side. Jared's also a musician. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, that was a dream long ago, man. Like, I enjoy playing bass. That's about where I'm at with it nowadays. I did the high school bands, the garage bands, metal bands, rock bands, cover bands, original stuff. Been all over the place with it, but at the end of the day, still just playing bass. And actually,
Jared and Gary.
Yeah, and the COVID, the COVID shutdown. Me and my buddy Gary Lobstein, we decided to do this collaborative effort with any musician that wanted to play with us. I was playing bass, he was playing drums. I had no problem playing guitar if somebody else wanted to play bass. And we'd record our part, and I would mix all the tracks together, and then Gary would do all the video. So he's done a lot of video work and that kind of thing. I think he's even made TV shows and movies. Yeah, for quite a while he's been doing different projects, but he handled that side of it. And yeah, we had pretty good response for a while there. There's always somebody, hey, let's do this song together. So we all figured out, we learn it, put our parts down, lay our tracks, edit a video, drop it off with Itai. And that's
editing the video. Were you doing like you're in one square, they're in another square? Were you doing them like that, or?
We did videos like that. Every video is different. Split screen stuff. We did a Misfits song where we're cutting in movie clips from old horror films like Night of the Living Dead and that kind of thing.
Right on.
Nothing super professional. It was just a lot of fun. Did what we could with what we had.
Yeah,
a lot of fun. It's mainly covers, but there's also, I think, at least one original song in there.
Yeah,
about a dozen episodes or so, and yeah, all available on my Indie Productions on Jared's page. So yeah, Jared and Gary play with ...
Yeah, and right now I'm getting kicked by him to get going on some more stuff because he got a bunch of drum tracks laid down. And well, last year I had a little incident at work where I lopped off the tip of my finger.
No.
On my fretboard hand with a belt and sprocket got me.
Oh shit.
So I lost about a half inch of crucial piece of my finger that I need to play. So it took a while for that to heal. I still can't feel nothing. So I had to relearn certain things when I was playing. So kind of back to where I was now. So
yeah,
ready to start writing again.
I remember you sent me photos and I'm thinking, is he doing like practical effects or is this real?
Yeah.
Oh shit. That looked painful.
Yeah, I'll never forget the guy because I saved it because I thought maybe they could reattach it. And the guy that was driving me up to the hospital, he's I don't know, he's seen it and he's like, wow, what is that? He thought it was like the end of a hot dog or something for some reason. I said, no, it's with my finger. And he was chucking out the window all the way up to the hospital, sicker than a dog.
Oh God.
It was yeah. He was in more pain than I was, I think.
Shit. Oh man. Well, for a musician, especially if you play a string instrument, that's like that could be almost a death sentence for most people.
Yep.
That's one of those things you're just like, when you said that, I went, no. All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was part 1 of this episode.
Part 2 will be coming up very, very soon. So look it up on the
Straight Shooters YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.
See you soon.